Yo, 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 yo. I'm just letting y'all know we got a good one, a really good one. So I definitely encourage you all to watch this one. This one will blow your mind. It's one of the things that I've been saying for a long period of time. So I'm really happy to find this footage.
So I just seen this girl make a video and she was like, why is it that the girls who are single and serially dating and they have rosters, why are they the ones giving out their game card and giving relationship advice instead of the women who are actually like happily married to wealthy men who spoil them? And I also want to add, why are the women who marry their sugar daddies giving advice as well? Because I'm so sorry, you were doing sex work when you met that man. You met him as a sex worker and he left his wife and family to marry you because you were younger and hotter than his wife who popped out 3 kids and who's the same age as him. Oh my God, I can't believe she showed signs of aging. Like, I'm not taking advice from you hoes either. But why are they the ones giving relationship advice and not the ones who are actually happily normally married to wealthy men? Why aren't they giving any advice? And the answer to that is that they don't have any advice to give. And this is okay, put it like this. There's people who have naturally clear skin and there's people who had to struggle with acne, right? I have naturally clear skin genetically. Neither one of my parents have ever had acne. Both of my parents have always had clear skin. They passed it on to me. They did also pass on to me terrible eyesight though. Both my parents wear glasses. You know I wear glasses, right? We all get it dealt our hand. So I don't have any advice to give you about skincare. Now, if you're somebody who struggled with acne and you had to go through that trial and error of how to get your skin clear, you have advice. You have methods. You have techniques. You can share that, right? Some women just naturally give the type of woman to where men want to spoil them and they attract good men.
Boom! Boom! I told you it was good. It was good. And see, this is the thing I'm always telling people. And it's so funny, you know, like I said, because I look through comments and then I look through, you know, some of the things that people send me and things like that and some of the other videos. And people don't seem to get this. People just really don't seem to get this. And even some of the guys out there, a lot of you just don't get this because I'm always saying I run into nothing but good women. It's like 90% of the women I run into are good women. I don't really have a problem with finding good women. I don't have a problem with finding good women that want to talk to me. I don't have a problem finding women who want to cook for me, who want to clean for me, who want to do for me. All right. And I'm not some super tall dude. I'm not some dude that has everything going for himself. I'm not worth $1 million, at least not yet. You know, so I'm not this super duper guy, but yet I'm able to get these women. And a lot of times it's not because I'm all that in a bag of chips. It's just simply because I've been trained in a way and I walk in a way and it has a certain type of energy to it that these women are naturally attracted to me. Okay, and then I'm naturally attracted to them. And then when the other types of women try to come in, these bad women, I'm not attracted to them. I'm not attracted to them at all. I actually repel them and they're actually repelled by me. They don't even understand that they are. And see, this is what I've been trying to get most of you to understand. If you want to get married and you want to be married, you know, for a long period of time and or for your life, you have to change the person within. Because when you change the person within and then you see clearly how to navigate, it becomes easy. It becomes just like what this woman is saying. You don't have to try. You don't have to work because you don't have dating acne anymore. At that point, you have dating clear skin. And so you're actually able just to go through, find these people. Now, we're going to go to the next video, which also I think is absolutely wonderful.
Happily married wife, married to a high value man, and I have a couple of tips to sprinkle on you. Number 1, don't look for a man that leads with his money. If a man thinks that you're only with him for his money, or that is what you are attracted to, when you are attracted to him, he's going to forever hold that money over your head. And I don't think that's what you're looking for. My favorite kind of wealthy people are the ones that you don't even realize are wealthy because they're just minding their business and living their private lives. Those are the people that you want to look for. You're probably wondering, like, well, where do you find these wealthy men that don't lead with their money? Well, first, let me tell you where they're not. They're not in the club buying sections. They're not at the day parties. They're not at anything being advertised on Instagram. Because if you know, like I know, when people have something big to lose, They don't really hang around people who don't have anything to lose. So where can you find high value men? Well, high value men, they go to private events, they go to sporting events, they go to galas, they go to birthday celebrations, they go to weddings, they go to conferences, and that is a big one. You might even find some of them in the gym and in the grocery store, but here's the thing. They're not going to be there in the middle of the day. They're going to be there very early in the morning. I'm talking 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, super early, because if you are wealthy and your wealth did not come from inheritance, 9 times out of 10, you have worked very hard for that wealth. And a hardworking man is the best kind of man to get. So grocery store, very early in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. Back to the conferences, you can literally pick what career you would like to date someone from. And there are conferences for everything. I have never seen a broke man with money for a conference. So if you're looking for a dentist, you can look up when the National Association of Dentistry conference is. If you're looking for a real estate investor, look up the National Real Estate Investors Conference. If you're looking for a veterinarian, like, you get the drift. There's conferences for literally every single type of professional sector that there are. And most of the time, successful men like to keep up their network and they attend these conferences.
Boom, 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 right? These are the types of things I've been saying on this channel forever. I think one of the problems with a lot of people is that they don't really recognize that they're walking in more of a, best way to describe it is just a lower class mentality. People with money don't spend money like that. They don't. Okay, I've told you guys before, I have friends that are millionaires. And most of them, they will show you their success, but they will never show you their banking account. All right? Most of those people that have that success, if they're dating, a woman would never know it. She would never know it. I'm just being real. Okay, guys with money, with major money, they're not going to be sitting around carrying it on themselves. They're not walking around with certain shirts and certain gold and certain diamond earrings and certain this and certain that. They're going to look normal. They're just going to look normal. They're going to be walking around looking normal. And the way you're going to know it is through conversation. You're going to have to talk to them. They're not going to be at the club. They're not going to be at the hookah bar. Okay? Some of them might show up at a cigar bar, but most of them that really are about something are not going to be in those spaces. I'm constantly saying that. Same thing I'll talk about for women. Most of really great women aren't in those places. I'm sorry, they're not. Okay, while there are good people there, don't get me wrong, there are good people in those places. I'm saying most of those people tend to stay, like the lady said, they tend to stay in a network. They tend to stay in a bubble. Okay, you've heard me say the term bubble. What you have to do, whether you're a male or a woman, you know, this video is primarily for women, but if you want to get to these people, you have to get inside the bubble. Once you're inside the bubble, it's easier for you to navigate within the bubble. So it's just like she said, if you go to a veterinary conference and you're walking around that conference and you see men without rings on their fingers, 9 times out of 10, they're evidently single, and now they're veterinarians, so you know they're probably making 150, 200 grand a year. You don't even have to think about it. He is making money because he's there. But if you come in and you start talking about, do all these things for me, buy, my nails for me, and hook this thing up, then he's going to know that you're low class. And if you're cute enough, he might spend some time with you, but more than likely, he's just going to move past you and move on. Because men ain't stupid. I keep trying to say this. A lot of the men that a lot of women are trying to get to, they're not stupid. They got to the place where they are for a reason, generally because they're pretty smart. And once they start to understand women, and once they've had 1 or 2 bad situations where a woman actually tried to use them, it's going to be very difficult for you to get your using nature beyond these men. So if you don't come in and you have not done the work on yourself, and when I say do the work on yourself, I'm not talking about going to a therapist. I'm talking about reorganizing your mind to understand what is important to a man that wants to build a family. You cannot come in starting to talk about, I want to get my nails done. I want to get my hair done. I want to do this. I want to do that. That are all external. You can't do that with a man that is trying to build a legacy. You have to come in thinking, oh, how can I help him invest his money better? How can I be a piece in his life from all the work that he's doing all day? And see, this is one of those places where it becomes very difficult for a lot of women who really are, mountain climbers. They're the women that want to go up the economic ladder. Because see, these women many times will come in, even though they're not necessarily asking for the man's money, they're basically saying, well, I have money to put on the table. And the man is basically saying, well, I didn't even ask you to even talk about your money. How are you going to raise my children? How are you going to run my house? And see, these are those places where a lot of women make these mistakes and they don't understand what the men are really looking for. But again, to get back to where the lady is talking about, you have to go to the places where good people are, whether you're male or female. You have to understand that when you're there, you have to be the person that they're used to. You have to have the energy that they're walking in. And again, for the ladies that are watching me, I'm just letting you know, a lot of these men, I'm telling you, they will wine and dine you. They might take you around the world. They might pump you, until you got a headache. But at the end of the day, if they don't marry you, you weren't worth much to them. So you have to be walking in wife energy. You have to be walking like a wife, just a wife that hasn't been found yet. It's really, really important.
It's going pretty viral, and she's saying that basically the women who marry wealthy men, it just happens to them. They didn't have to do anything special, and that's why they're not getting online and giving advice. I believe that she is wrong for a plethora of reasons. Let's start with number one. Unless your parents have money and you are around these men, you are going to have to do work to find these men, okay? Unless you frequent in these circles, like let's say your parents are doctors, lawyers, whatever the case may be, then you don't have to do much to meet these men. But the women who came from poor backgrounds and they met these men, they had to do something to meet them, okay? They didn't just meet them walking down the street. No, they had to put themselves in the positions to meet these men. That's how they met them. Now, for her next point about, oh, that's why they're so quiet about it. Not every man that you get with, you're going to be able to get on TikTok and discuss how you guys met. Okay? That's why a lot of them are quiet. A lot of these men have high-powered jobs as investment bankers. They're public on LinkedIn, whatever the case may be. They're a CEO of a national company. His wife cannot go on TikTok and said she met him as a high-end schmeck, whatever. Or she met him doing XYZ. She met him when she was whatever. She cannot say that because her husband is in a position of power. She cannot say that. Her husband says, no, you cannot get on TikTok and discuss how we met. Or they make up a lie on how they met. We met on Bumble, or we met on a dating app, or a friend of a friend. No, they're just saying that as a cover story, okay? Not every rich man you're going to get with, you're going to be able to get online and sell a course and be yada, yada, yada. Some rich men require privacy when you date them. Some men are super wealthy that you're not going to be able to get on TikTok and start blabbing your mouth away. You're going to mess up your bag. 2, for the women that are reading that video and saying, oh, I don't need to do nothing to meet a rich man. I could just go out and meet him. No, unless your parents, I will say it again, it's my last time saying it. Unless you're already frequenting in those circles, your parents have money, you're around friends who have lots of money, you're going to have to do work to get in that circle to meet these kinds of men. You're not going to meet him at your everyday grocery store. No, you're going to have to put yourself in positions to meet these men. Okay? And another thing I have to add to this, not all of us are going to marry rich, okay? Just because you listen to Sprinkle Sprinkle, just because you listen to these, buy a course, she met her husband on Bumble, I'm going to meet him on Bumble. Not everybody, just because one girl did something and she was able to score lucky with it, doesn't mean that you're going to score lucky with it. Everyone's life path is different, okay? Everyone's life is different. Not everyone is going to marry a rich man.
Boom. Okay, so yes, I agree with what that lady said, and I'm going to finish with that. Because one of the things that I think a lot of women need to understand, and I've said this before, depending upon the lifestyle that you want, I know, like I said here in Atlanta, if you want to live in a really great neighborhood, and when I say great neighborhood, I'm not talking about really super mansion type houses. I'm just talking about maybe a 4-bedroom house, perhaps with a basement. You're driving a relatively new car. Maybe your cars will get 7 years or 10 years on each car, and you have 2 or 3 children, and you have a little bit of backyard or whatever it is. I mean, that to be in an environment where nobody's shooting at you, and some of your neighbors don't look like you, they might be other races. You'll probably need a man making about $120,000 to $150,000 a year in order to just sit at home and be a stay-at-home mom. Now, if you take it back 2 notches, where you have some of that, but maybe you don't have all of that. Maybe you only have 4 bedrooms, but you don't have a basement. And, still the same type of safe environment, but it's not everything. You might be able to get away with between 100 and 120,000. All right. But there is a limit. There is a limit where you really can't live anymore and not, as a woman, have a job and actually be helping your husband. And if you're not in that mindset to know that only 1 out of 10 men can even get you to this level, you can waste your entire existence trying to find these men. This is only 10% of the population. And if you have a lot of other factors that you're looking for, like I said, that he has to be 6'2", that he has to be dark skinned versus light skinned, then that's going to limit you even more. And if you're watching me, then I'm believing that you might actually want him to be Christian, which is again going to limit him even more. So you could be in a situation where you're now down to 3% or maybe even 2% of the population to try to satisfy all of what you're looking for. And then all of that is not to say that he'll even be attracted to you. Now, one of the things that, the last lady said, which I think is extremely important, is the fact that can you even get into their circles? And this is a big one. This is a really big one. Because, see, when you come into somebody else's circle, and I've talked about this when I've had, talked about hypergamy. Like, I don't really have a problem with hypergamy. And I find that most guys with money, they don't have a problem with hypergamy. And I'm not rich, don't get me wrong. But I don't mind a woman trying to level herself up because I'm at a place in my life where, if I ran into that woman, it's not that big of a deal. Right? But if she comes to my level, if she tries to come up to my level, she has to fully come up to my level. She can't half step it. So she has to be able to keep up with the women who were trained to be at this level. The women who for 20 years, their parents poured into them to be at this level. Okay? So if she's around me and she's just cussing like a sailor, it's a wrap. If she's around me and the certain style that she has doesn't reflect the other women that are at that level, it's a wrap. If she cannot keep up her body and her physical to be at that level, if she cannot talk intelligently at a party, it's a wrap. See, it's so many things that now expose her and exposes her background. And this is the problem even with certain men. It's very hard for them to come up to certain places because they haven't been exposed to things. And that's why hypergamy is hard, because as a woman is trying to go up this line and get to bigger and better men, these men at that level, they have certain things that they're looking for. And see, honestly, this is one of the things, and I don't really like bringing up too many, other influencers on my channel, but this is one of the things that Kevin Samuels was trying to tell people. He was trying to let a lot of women know that if you're not at this level, you're not going to be able to walk and talk with these men. You're just not. And a lot of the women were getting very frustrated because these high value men that he was trying to talk about and all these other types of things. But what was really going on is if you're trying to, like I say, to get to these levels, you can't get the average quote unquote high value man. And you guys know that follow me. No, I don't like saying that term because I would rather you get a marriage minded man. But if you're talking about a guy that makes 6+ figures, a comfortable 6 figures, and he doesn't have any drama associated with him, and he's going to move you into a good neighborhood, and he is going to pretty much take care of most of your bills, and he's going to be that true protector, provider, leader, it is going to be difficult for you if you got 3 baby daddies. That's going to be hard for you. It's going to be hard for you if you might not have any children. You might be 100% no children. You might have a decent job. You might have a cute face, but then you've not kept up with your body. Or to be honest with you, you're in a situation where you got tattoos on your face and on your neck. See, these are things that disqualify you. And your parents were supposed to teach that to you. And the people that actually exist in that bubble, that live at that level, that's what they teach their children. So it's easy very quickly to be able to see who belongs here and who doesn't. And I remember, again, bringing up another influencer, Ron Wills. Okay. And Ron Wills talks about how every single person, like women, know their man from their man's costume, i.e., how he's dressed, how he's looking, what he has on. And it's the same thing for men to women. But as people go up, they try to change their costume. They're out here on the internet trying to figure out, okay, how do I cover up where I came from so that I can move up the ladder? It's a whole concept of fake it until you make it. But see, sooner or later, if that's the only thing that you have, it is going to fall apart for you. So for women that are watching me, if you want to truly get up at that level, I'm letting you know from a hypergamy perspective that technically you can do it, but be ready to go through a whole lot of polishing and buffering and chipping away, because there's going to be a lot that you have to give up in order to get to that level. Okay. And then once you're at that level, you have to be able to maintain it and see the good in being there. Because when you see the good that's being there, what those men are concerned about is they're concerned about their legacy. So you have to be concerned about your legacy at that point. And you have to be able to see the legacy through the eyes of your husband. And it's the same thing for men. If you want to get up there and you want to be with some of these women and different things like that, you have to be willing to make those changes in order to get up there. And you cannot assume that just because somebody is black, that they act a certain way. And that's one of those things is like, again, black people love this concept of putting every black person in a box and saying that we're all in this one big box together. Okay, but I've basically tried to tell you 20% or so, depending upon what stat you look at, somewhere between 30 to 15% of black people are raised with both parents. Both parents. Over 15% of black people, their parents are still together. Even though you're watching me and you're trying to get married and date, there are black people right now that have been married 30 and 40 years. And then their parents were married 30 and 40 years. There are black people who live like that. So you cannot assume that just because you came from a certain type of environment, that all black people come from this environment. You can't. So I really kind of liked this video because it really kind of shows, some of the hidden things that a lot of people are not talking about. And and the reason why they don't talk about these things, I don't think it's just what the first lady said. I honestly think it's just not profitable. It's not profitable. It's not profitable to tell most women out here that, hey, more than likely, you are not going to marry a high value man. You make more money by giving women the hope that they can marry a high value man. Remember, that's one of the issues that I have with a lot of churches is that they sell hope. And a lot of people online, some of them are selling hope. Other people are selling sensationalism. But if you line yourself up with logic and truth, then I truly believe you can make a lot more of your dreams come true. Anyway, please like, please subscribe, and I'm going to see you all in the very next video.